I've always believed that deeds speak louder than words, so I've never felt the need to announce my achievements to the world. However, that didn't apply when it came to my wife, Anna. To her, I was just David, her husband who earned a modest salary and lived a simple life. She never asked too many questions, and I never offered much information when she inquired about my work. The less she knew, the less she could use against me if things went wrong. For context, I'm the CEO of a mid-sized company, a position I earned through years of hard work, discipline, and sleepless nights. But I've never been one to flaunt my title or accomplishments. My work defines me, not my title. Anna never cared about my career. She assumed I was just another office worker in the sea of employees. That suited me fine. When we got married, I didn't hide my career, but I didn't make it the center of our relationship. I wanted her to see me as more than just my job, someone she could connect with beyond wealth or status. But over time, I realized Anna wasn't who I thought she was. Her priorities shifted, and she started treating me like I was merely a supporting character in her life, someone to lean on when convenient, and discard when I wasn't needed. Because of my quiet demeanor, she assumed I was lazy, unambitious, even useless. She had no idea how much effort I was putting into running a company that allowed her to have everything she wanted and more. At first, I didn't mind the misunderstandings. I thought, everyone's entitled to their opinions. But her dismissive attitude grew sharper, and her words became cutting. What started as small criticisms turned into disdain. I stayed silent, absorbing her jabs, hoping the storm would pass. But storms don't pass. They build. Anna never asked about my work. She never cared about the long hours, the countless meetings, or the stress of running a business. Instead, she'd often talk about her own contributions, comparing them to mine as though I were a lazy bystander. I wanted to share the realities of my life with her, but something held me back. Maybe it was pride, or maybe I was subconsciously testing if she could accept me for who I was without the shiny title. Spoiler alert, she didn't. I played the role of the calm husband. I didn't argue, didn't fight back. Not because I was afraid to, but because I didn't see the point. Actions speak louder than words, I told myself. But now I wonder, should I have corrected the record sooner? Would Anna's behavior have changed if I'd revealed my true identity and accomplishments, or would it have made things worse? I allowed her to create a foolish image of me, her foolish husband as she liked to call me. Little did she know, the man she so easily dismissed was pulling strings she couldn't even comprehend. One day, she'd learn just how wrong she had been. But by then, it would be too late. Then the messages came. I know I said things I didn't mean. Please call me so we can talk. You're avoiding me like a child. I read each one, feeling the guilt rise in me. But I fought it off. I had to stay firm. Anna was panicking because she had lost control, not because she truly understood what she had done wrong. I sought refuge in my work, where I was respected, valued, and most importantly, in control. I had no idea what was happening at home, and I intended to keep it that way. But Anna wasn't done. She began appearing at places where she thought she might find me, lobby of the building, my favorite coffee shop, and even the park where I often took walks during lunch breaks. She tried to get my attention by screaming my name or waving at me. One afternoon before a meeting, Sarah came into my office with news. Anna's downstairs again. I sighed. What is she doing this time? She's agitated. She says it's urgent, Sarah replied. I leaned back in my chair. Let her know I'm busy. If she really needs to talk, she can send an email. When I returned from my meeting, Sarah informed me that Anna had eventually left, but not before causing a scene in the lobby. She'd raged at the receptionist, accusing her of hiding me and threatening to report the situation. My colleagues didn't bring it up directly, but I could feel the strain. Anna's behavior wasn't just embarrassing. It was disruptive. Later that night, I went through her texts again. One stood out. I'm scared, David. Please come back. I don't know what I'll do without you. I felt a pang of pity. We'd been married for years, and it was hard to forget the good times, no matter how toxic things had become. But then I remembered all the times she had minimized me, rejected me, and made me feel like I was nothing. I couldn't go back. Not now, not ever. The next morning, my lawyer called to let me know the divorce papers had been filed. Anna would be served within the week. A few days later, Anna showed up at my apartment unannounced. Loud knocking followed by her voice calling out, "David, please open the door. I just want to talk." I stayed silent. Eventually, the knocking stopped and I heard her footsteps retreating. I peered through the peephole and saw her sitting on the stairs, her head in her hands. The guilt threatened to rise, but I pushed it away. I wasn't ignoring her out of malice. I was protecting myself. After all these years, she had thrown away my patience and understanding. That evening, I poured myself a glass of wine, locked the door, and turned off my phone. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Anna could panic all she wanted, but I refused to let her drag me back into the toxic loop. When she received the divorce documents, I knew she wouldn't take it well. As expected, the calls started immediately. "You're humiliating me," she yelled. "You're hiding behind lawyers instead of facing me like a man." I ignored every message, but after a few days, her tone changed. "David, please let's fix this. I'll change. Don't throw everything away. Tell me you love me, and we'll make it work." I knew better. She wasn't apologizing out of love. She was apologizing because she had lost the control she thought she had over me. One evening, I answered her call. "David, how could you do this to me after all these years? Are you really going through with the divorce?" I took a deep breath and said, "This didn't happen overnight, Anna. It's been a long time coming. The moment you decided I wasn't worthy of respect, this became inevitable." She started to protest. "Every marriage has tough times. You don't just give up when things get hard." "This isn't about tough times," I interrupted. "It's about how you've treated me for years. You've belittled me, lied to me, and made me feel invisible in my own marriage. I'm done." There was a long silence. When she spoke again, her tone was softer. "David, I didn't mean those things. I was just frustrated. The problem is, Anna," I said firmly, "you did mean them. That's who you are. And this conversation is over." I hung up before she could respond. It was heartbreaking, but I stood by my decision. For the first time in years, I was prioritizing my own well-being. And as painful as it was, I felt a profound sense of relief. Over the following weeks, her messages became fewer. It seemed like she was starting to accept the reality of the situation. When the divorce was finalized, I knew I had made the right choice. I was free,